Right now, as you watch this, blood is visible from space. Not metaphorically, literally. Satellite images over Sudan show evidence of mass killings so severe that the earth itself bears witness. 30 million people, 2/3 of Sudan's population, need emergency aid. 12 million have been forcibly displaced, tens of thousands murdered in days. And yet, the world barely notices. This is the story of how a nation collapsed, how foreign powers turned Sudan into a chessboard, and how millions are fighting simply to survive another day. On October 26, 2025, after an 18-month siege, the city of El Fasher fell. What happened next shocked even seasoned humanitarian workers. In just 48 hours, at least 1,500 people were executed. Mass rapes, ethnic targeting, entire families murdered in their homes. The UN warned the city had descended into an even darker hell. We're getting reports of people trapped on roads, in villages we can't reach. There's a complete blackout. We don't know how many are dead. We fear tens of thousands. This wasn't the first massacre. It won't be the last. Since April 2023, Sudan has been consumed by civil war between two military factions. The Sudanese Armed Forces AF led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the Rapid Support Forces SFA paramilitary group, led by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hemeti. The numbers are staggering, almost incomprehensible. 12 million people displaced, the largest displacement crisis in the world. 25 million facing acute hunger. Famine confirmed in multiple locations. 17 million children out of school. Over 70% of hospitals not full. Over 110 humanitarian workers killed, injured, or abducted. But behind every number is a human being. A mother who watched her children starve. A father executed for trying to protect his family. A daughter violated as a weapon of war. Both sides have committed atrocities. Both have used starvation as a weapon. But the RSF evolved from the Janjaweed militias responsible for the Darfur genocide 2 decades ago, stands accused of systematic ethnic cleansing, particularly targeting non-Arab communities. This isn't just a civil war. It's a proxy conflict, a battleground where foreign powers pursue gold, ports, and influence while Sudanese people pay with their lives. On one side, the RSF, backed primarily by the United Arab Emirates. Despite UAE denials, the evidence is overwhelming. U.S. intelligence reports show dozens of Emirati cargo flights delivering weapons, including Chinese-made drones and guided bombs through Chad. Bulgarian mortar rounds, legally exported to the UAE, were traced to RSF units. Colombian mercenaries, recruited by UAE-based firms, were captured in Darfur. The UAE's interest isn't ideological, it's calculated. The RSF controls Sudan's informal gold trade. They control routes to the Red Sea, where Emirati companies like DP World want access. This is about resources and strategic positioning. In 2023, 97% of gold exports from SAF-controlled areas went to the UAE, tens of millions of dollars flowing while people starve. On the other side, the Sudanese armed forces, backed by Egypt, Russia, Iran, Turkey, and others. Egypt provides drones and financial backing, terrified of instability on its southern border and desperate to control Nile water access. Iran supplies drones and seeks a foothold on the Red Sea. Russia plays both sides. The Kremlin backs the Safwal Wagner Group. Mercenaries facilitate UAE weapons to the RSF. Turkey delivers military drones, expanding influence in the Horn of Africa. Each has calculated their interests. None prioritize Sudanese lives. The prize: Sudan sits on Africa's third-largest gold reserves. It borders the Red Sea, one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. 2. Whoever controls Sudan controls trade routes between Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Beyond resources, ideology, and influence, Egypt and Saudi Arabia want to prevent another failed state on their borders. The UAE seeks economic empire building. Iran wants to counter Saudi influence and gain Red Sea access. Russia wants a naval base and to counter Western influence. The tragic irony: each time one side starts losing, foreign backers send more weapons, prolonging the agony. This isn't about winning, it's about winning, and Sudanese civilians are crushed in between. For those trapped in Sudan, survival is a daily miracle. We left everything. No food, no water, just running. My children ask me when we can go home. I have no answer. Over 7 million internally displaced people remain inside Sudan, unable to escape. They huddle in camps where disease spreads like wildfire. Cholera, malaria, measles. Humanitarian organizations are doing everything possible with almost nothing. Emergency food kitchens, mobile health clinics, water purification. But funding is critically short, access is blocked, and aid workers are targets. Those who escape face new hardships. Over 3 million have fled to Chad, South Sudan, Egypt, Ethiopia, countries already struggling with their own crises. Camps are overwhelmed. In March 2025, US aid cuts devastated even these fragile lifelines. We're turning away people with nowhere else to go. We have mothers giving birth in the dirt, children dying from preventable diseases. This is happening in 2025. But Sudanese resilience is extraordinary. Communities share what little they have. Volunteers risk their lives running underground kitchens, secret schools, medical clinics. They document atrocities so the world cannot claim ignorance. Multiple attempts at peace have failed spectacularly. The Jeddah talks in 2023 collapsed. Geneva talks in 2024, the SAF refused to attend. September 2025, the Quad countries US, UAE, Egypt, Saudi Arabia proposed a roadmap. Days later, the RSF launched the El Fasher massacre. Both generals refuse meaningful negotiation. Burhan insists only military victory is acceptable. Himadi formed a parallel government, splitting Sudan further. Each thinks they can win. Each is backed by foreign powers who profit from prolonged conflict. The RSF exploits peace talks to launch offensives. The SAF is increasingly controlled by Islamist hardliners who see compromise as betrayal. Meanwhile, mediators can't or won't pressure the foreign backers fueling this war. Sudan faces three possible futures. First, total collapse. The country fragments completely. Darfur becomes an RSF protostate. The east remains under SAF. Millions more die from violence and starvation. Second, military victory. One side wins through total war, but victory means nothing if Sudan is left destroyed, traumatized, and ruled by warlords accountable to foreign powers. Third, genuine peace. International pressure forces foreign backers to cut support. Sanctions target war profiteers. A negotiated settlement leads to civilian government. Accountability for war crimes. Rebuilding begins. Right now, Scenario 3 seems impossible, but it's the only path to survival. So who can stop this war? First, the foreign backers. The UAE, Egypt, Russia, Iran. They could stop weapons shipments tomorrow. They won't, unless forced. Second, international pressure. The UN Security Council could impose real sanctions, arms embargoes, asset freezes on RSF and SAF leadership. They haven't. Why? Because permanent members, Russia and China, block meaningful action. And because Sudan doesn't have the kind of oil wealth that commands Western attention. Third, regional powers like the African Union could mediate credibly, but most have compromised themselves by backing one side or the other. Fourth, public pressure. When people demanded action on Darfur in 2004, it moved governments. Social media campaigns can expose war crimes. And fifth, accountability. The International Criminal Court issued warrants for Bashir. They can do the same for Burhan and Hemeti, making it clear there will be consequences. But ultimately, the power lies with awareness. Sudan has become the world's largest humanitarian crisis, precisely because the world looks away. 30 million people are not statistics. They're engineers and teachers, farmers and doctors, parents and children, people who dreamed of democracy, who overthrew a dictator in 2019, who dared to hope for better. 3. Share of this video. Every donation to humanitarian groups, every call to representatives demanding action, it matters. It tells Sudanese people they're not forgotten. It tells war criminals the world is watching. It tells profiteering governments there will be consequences. Sudan's crisis is not inevitable. It's modern geopolitics, foreign greed, and international indifference, which means it can be stopped. The question isn't whether Sudan can survive, it's whether the world will let it. Thanks for watching. Please share this story, and if you found this informative, consider subscribing.